going. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Mastermind, Body, and Spirit Show. I'm your host, Matt Belair. Today's guest is a master communicator and expert in unlocking and maximizing your potential by bridging science and personal development. He fine-tunes the knowledge from quantum physics and the biology of epigenetics for you to live your greatness and full potential. He is a life scientist with a PhD in natural sciences and is the former director of 3 international research and innovation networks with key players from academia and industry. Welcome to the show, Dr. Akuma Saningong.
Thank you very much, Matt, for this kind introduction. I feel really honored. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. I'm so excited to have you on. You reached out. I don't know how the show got to you, but I was interviewing Dean Radin, who's incredible. And you reached out and I got to look at your work and I was like, holy smokes, like, who are you? Yes, please come on and share quantum physics and personal development. Like I'm all ears. So why don't you give people a little bit of introduction of who you are, how you got to where you are today, and dive into wherever you want to start.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Dean Radin has been a mentor of mine. I've been following his work, his research work, because I'm interested in bridging science and personal development and spirituality. And that's what Dean Radin and the Institute of Hypnotic Sciences are doing. So when I saw him on your show, I said, oh, that's good. I should reach out. And it happened that we are now talking with one another. So thank you once again for being that I'm a guest on your show. Yeah, how it started with me, when I started with me, it's been a long journey. I came into the world of science and spirituality after my PhD in 2010. I wasn't really satisfied with me. I had a sense of loss, some emptiness in me. I thought having reaching the apex of academia, that is a PhD, I've achieved something. Yes, it's an achievement, but it wasn't that fulfilling. I was still feeling kind of empty. So that's how my journey started, in the search of who I am, who am I, and how can I be happy? Because I think we humans, we all want to be happy, aren't we? So that's where the journey started. 2010, I didn't know what to do with my life. I never wanted to be a full-time scientist working at the universities or in research labs. So I was there 1 year at the university doing basic research and teaching, and I had a job opportunity in the industry to be kind of a bridge between science and industry in the use of biotechnology, because I'm a biotechnologist. How can we use biotechnological methods to produce new products and technology from bio waste? I did that job for 2 years. During the first 2 years, it was very exciting, but my unhappiness didn't let me go. You know, I still had that search of lacking, that search of what can I really do with my life? So I was at that moment that I was in a lot of pain in me, that I couldn't withstand that pain again. So I started doing some reading, talking to people, going to seminars and meetings. And in the course of that time, it took me about 1 year, I came to the realization that science and spirituality and personal development are compatible with one another. So it was a very exciting knowing. So I kept on digging and digging. That's how I came to know people like Dean Radin, people like Bruce Lipton. I'm sure you know the name. Colleagues like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Dr. Amit Goswami. I said those are people with a similar background like I am, and they are doing what is very nice. So they were like my mentors and inspirers. I really look up onto them. So I made the decision to go into a similar line of work like them. So the best thing for me to do was I said I should become a speaker. Because if you are a speaker, you have an audience in front of you that you can empower them with the knowledge. And then these people, they get this knowledge. And at the end of the day, they become multiplicators. They go into the field and keep on saying what you just said. And I think that is a way that I could impact positive change to humanity and to society. So that's how my path started. And when I got that realization, it was so appeasing, it was so cool. I felt some inner peace in me. I thought, that is it. I thought I felt as if the universe was talking to me. And it gave me so much courage and energy. I went to my bosses at the time. I told them, I'm leaving. And within a very short period of time, I left the company and I became a full-time entrepreneur, doing speaking both nationally in Germany and internationally in bridging science and personal development and spirituality, in empowering people to live the life that they intend to live.
I love it. It's fascinating. Well, what I like is the journey through academia, to get the PhD, to get the pinnacle, to get the scientific background. And, what you're talking about on a level that a lot of people, including myself, don't really understand. I've done some Dr.w's workshops, at advanced and meditated and do all that kind of thing, but you're bridging the gap through science. Bruce Lipton's work, also phenomenal. So when you're speaking and you're bridging the gap between quantum physics, science, and personal development, what is the message? What are some of the main messages that you're trying to empower the audiences with?
The message I'm empowering the audience with, we begin with quantum physics. Quantum physics is a physics of possibilities, which means that all things are possible. When we talk of quantum physics, we talk of physics of subatomic particles, meaning electrons, protons, and neutrons. And in quantum physics, there is a concept, or one of the core tenets of quantum physics is the wave-particle duality, meaning that an electron can exist as a wave and as a particle, as a particle. It is only a particle when it is localized, when you can see it with your physical eyes or with an instrument. And it is a wave meaning that when it is in a state of a wave, it can be anywhere in the atom. In this state of being anywhere, in quantum physics, we define it as a state of pure potentiality. It means it can be anywhere. Only when it has been localized, when it means we talk of collapse of the wave function, it means the electron stops existing being a wave and being a particle. So the intriguing question is, yes, that sounds very interesting, but how does that got to do with us human beings? How can this knowledge help you, help me, and our fellow humans to live their potential of pure possibilities? You agree with me that we are made up of atoms and electrons. Are you on the same page with me on this? Okay, good. Thank you for giving me your feedback. So,
yep.
So if we are all made up of electrons and atoms, it means that we can also be waves and particles. Now you are a particle, or I'm a particle, because you are interacting with the physical world. You are sitting on a chair. You are looking on this computer. So it's kind of interaction with the physical world. So you are a particle. Take, for instance, that if we were to put you in a vacuum is a place in which there is no interaction with the physical world. Then you'll be a wave. And a wave is invisible. You can't see a wave. You are spirit. Spirit is everywhere. When we talk of a wave, people say when they look at water in the sea, that movement going up and down, that is a wave. No, that is the wave. That is just the effect of a wave, but the cause of it is invisible. All right? So being a wave, as we humans, if you don't have any interaction with the physical world, it means you can be everywhere. You are in mine, you told me, in the States, I'm in Hamburg, in Germany. You can be anywhere in South Africa, anywhere. That means that as a take-home message, this state of anywhere, this state, it is a state of pure potentiality. It's a state of possibilities. It means all things are possible. That is the message. That is what, if you've read the book, I can refer our readers to read the books of Dr. Amit Goswami. He really explains this concept of quantum physics being a physics of possibilities. He really does that in a very simple way. So for me, when I got to know this knowledge, that all things are possible, that the only limits that we've got as humans are the limits that we put in our minds that we can do something, or we give other people the power to tell us that we can't do something, because all things are possible. Look, more than 50 years ago, or if you take the last century, man has gone to the moon. For 200 years ago, that was impossible, isn't it? But now, people go to the moon. Just to tell you that whatever the human mind can conceive, it can achieve. That is the message of empowerment. And how can we humans use this knowledge of quantum physics, of physics of possibilities, to empower ourselves? It's a very simple concept, because if we know that everything is possible, there are no limits, we have to have a mindset that is open to everything and attached to nothing. This concept, or this quote, came from Tilopa. You, as a 10 athlete, I'm sure you've heard about Tilopa. He was a Buddhist monk who lived in India more than 1,000 years ago. He said, to have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing, this is very profound. You can only win because you don't know that you don't know. I repeat, you don't know that you don't know. That is the highest state of unconsciousness. Because Socrates said, the Greek philosopher, that one thing he knows is that he knows that he doesn't know. That is better. But I'm talking of a higher state of unconsciousness. You don't know that you don't know. Are you getting me the point?
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I myself, not included, there are so many things that I'm not even aware that exist. But they are there. I give you an example. Take for example, you are driving home in the night. It's all dark. You've got only the windscreen of your car and the lights of your car, which are going to lead you home. And the question I ask you, does it mean that all other things which are outside the windscreen of your car and what the light of your car doesn't show you, they don't exist? They are not there? They are there. But they are not within your radar. So for me, the take-home message is to be humble. Is to bring yourself down and learn from others. Because anybody you meet in life, be it a child, no matter the social status of this person, what I've learned is that this person knows something that I don't know. So what do? I bring my ego down and I learn from this person. And that's how I can unfold my potential. That's how I can develop myself. Because all things are possible. There are so many possibilities outside. And in order to grow, you must allow these possibilities to come within your radar that you can choose from to allow the wave to collapse. Right? Another concept that that I wish to share is it also comes from Zen Buddhism. I think I really think we really met each other on a telepathic level. I'm talking about Zen Buddhism and you're a Zen athlete. There's a concept in Zen Buddhism, and I know you, Matt, you should know this concept. It's about Shoshin, right? Shoshin means that you should have it's also a concept in Zen Buddhism and also in martial arts. It means that having a mindset of a child, having the mindset of a beginner, always seeking to know, seeking to learn. That's how you grow. So this concept of Shoshin we can apply it in our lives, that we don't know, so we learn. So that's how I see this concept from quantum physics to personal development, how we can use that to be who we can be by learning from others, by knowing that, I always say, why did God give us 2 ears and 1 mouth? He gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth that we should listen 2/3 of the time and talk 1/3 of the time. Because when you talk, you can only talk from what you know. But when you listen, you allow new stuff to come into you. And that's how you can grow. There's one guy in South Africa, the name, I don't have it at the top of my mind, but he said one thing very profound. He's a sports philosopher. He said, 50% of the things that we know are not correct, but we don't know which 50% of these things are. Are you getting me?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So with all these simple basic concepts, that's how I think we can grow and unfold our potential and maximize our potential from the aspect of quantum physics to personal development. And that's what I preach around the world.
Amazing. Well, you touched on a lot of really, really great concepts in there. The Socrates thing, is like, I know that I know nothing. And you also touched a little bit on what I refer to as non-local mind. That wave particle, that's an experience that I've had directly where it's just a different state of consciousness than the one that I'm using now. And it's bigger and you feel it and it makes you realize that you don't know anything. It's like, oh my goodness, I only know a little bit. And that state of humility and seeing everybody as a teacher is so important, right? Because then you can learn. And the only thing that we really know is our direct experiences. Everything else is outside of us. And even when we have the direct experience, for us to remember it, recall it, and share it accurately can be a challenge once it passes, because that's just a challenging thing to do. Yeah, and like talking about, kind of like unconscious incompetence. When you're going down and you see the lights of the road, you're not even aware of what you can't do yet. So from this spirit of humility and learning from everything, you really increase your capacity to grow and to learn at an accelerated rate.
Exactly, because all things are possible.
Right. So I was curious, in Dr. Joe's work and kind of what I teach for athletes and coaching is you got to really get clear on what it is that you want. And one of the practical tools that Dr. Joe Dispenza will use, and this is like timeless stuff, is to go into a meditative state, experience the thing as you want already done. So in sport, it's really simple: double backflip, triple backflip, whatever the case is. If it's in business, you see the business functioning, how it feels, all the employees, your product getting out there, whatever the case may be. Or maybe you have a family life and you get some more passive income, more time at the cottage, more time with the friends. But one of those tools is to meditate. So I guess I'd throw at you, what do you think it is the main blocker from people imagining their unlimited potential, right? They're in a reality and they're like, this is the reality. This is my ceiling. This is my box. This is where I'm staying. What prevents them from seeing any other possibility? And once they are able to see that possibility, what are some tools that they can use to get it? And then maybe some science that backs up why that tool works.
Oh my God, that's a hard one.
Sorry, that's a lot. You can do it.
That's a hard one. I think Joe Dispenza, a very profound guy. I really love his work. I've read his books. I haven't had the chance to meet him at one of his seminars, but he comes from time to time to Germany. I make sure I will meet him next time when he comes to Germany. Joe is a great guy. In his book, You Are the Placebo, and Being Supernatural, his new book, what Joe is saying is to be in touch with the universal mind, to be with the field. He calls it the field, right? The field of all possibilities. And what Joe is saying is, in order to achieve your goals, to be who you want to be, you have to have intention. Intention, that is, you have to be focused, you have to give an intention to the universe. And you have to feel that intention, you have to mix that intention with feelings, emotions, to be in a highly excited state. In his book, he did this wave, he did a graph there, how you become particle and being a wave. That is when you are a wave, that is energy, you're on a very high frequency, meaning that you can manifest your realities at a shorter rate. And when you're a particle like us now, it takes the frequency is very short and very longer wavelengths, so it takes longer time to manifest your reality in the physical world, meaning that being focused, knowing, okay, what do you want to be in life? A 10 outlet, I want to be a millionaire, or whatever is your wish. Have that focus on being happy. That is the message. That is, happiness is our birthright. So we can cultivate happiness by just doing simple daily activities like being gratitude. I think that is a very normal. It is in everybody's mouth now that gratitude is the best, one of the best ways to find inner peace. Just being happy that you are alive today, being happy that you've eaten something today, being happy that you got a shelter above your head, being happy that we can even talk. You can talk with me. I can talk with you. I don't know you, but so many kilometers away. Just being happy for simple things. It brings you in a positive state of vibration, because the universe just gives you what you sense out. As the law of attraction says, what you think, our waves, our thoughts are waves, and like waves attract like waves. But I don't think I've really answered your question. I was just digressing. Your real question was, help me, what prevents people to manifest their reality? Is that correct?
Well, kind of the idea, what would prevent a person from seeing outside the current ceiling of reality that they have of their possibility? If we do have infinite possibility in our lives, but then we get to a certain state, of stability or whatever, we're working a job, we're not that stoked on our job. We would like to improve our lot. We would like to move more into, an ideal life, I like to ask people, if you had $1 million every single day for the rest of your life, what would you do? And the reality is that we don't need as much money as we think to do the things that we really value most. And so it would be just entering the thought of what prevents people from even believing that they can achieve what they want, or that we do live in a world where we have infinite possibilities.
Yeah, so what prevents people is, the main thing is fear. Fear is the main stumbling block, because we human beings, we have been conditioned to go by sight, not by faith. We think that only what you see is real, but also what you don't see is also real. Isn't it? Because if we're talking of the wave particle duality, a particle is physical, you see a particle, okay, no, it's something real, but a wave, you don't see a wave, but it's there. So what prevents people, I repeat, is fear, and we go by sight, not by faith. So how can we circumvent fear? Or how can we achieve that? That's a very good question. And what I can say is, fear is part of our it's part of our system. If you say you want to eradicate fear, it's kind of being utopic. It's like saying you don't want to breathe again. Breathing is part of you, isn't it? So what I say is, we should reduce, this is fear and this is faith. Are you seeing this? This is fear on the left side, and this is faith on the right side. Is to bring fear so low and faith high. That is, we should starve our fears and feed our faith. That is my message. That is what I live on. That is, I just believe in this supernatural force. We call it infinite intelligence. This intelligence that is there, that we don't see, but we know, we feel it, we know it is there. We should give it a chance. And we can only give it a chance in which we should start by trying little things. Try to start little things that you know that can manifest, because success breeds success. When you try something small and then you see it works, your faith increases. And then you go step by step, just like a child who is born, have to learn how to work, and then and like that becomes an adult. So that's how I did it. I started with little things that I know it can work, that I have a degree of believing in it. And then with that, your faith grows stronger and stronger. And it is only in doing that you can know it. These are all subjective experiences. So my message to our listeners is you have to give it a try. Just take a leap of faith, as the saying goes. That is, fit your fear. No, stuff your fears and fit your faith. That is the message. And you can only do it. The taste is in the pudding. The taste is in the pudding. Let me give you a personal experience, how I applied this knowledge to me as a person. I told you in the beginning that I had to quit my job in the industry, a very nice and lucrative job, well paid, everything was fine. But I had to take the leap of faith to become an entrepreneur. I had to quit this job to start from fresh, with no security, with no job security, with no salary at the end of the month. That I knew I just had to be dependent that, universe, or some people call it God, I call it universe. I just know the universe shall never forsake me. And it has never done. That was the best decision I ever took in my life. And I'm so happy and grateful now that I did that. Since that moment that I took that decision, things have always been getting better and better. People are popping into my life, events and circumstances and whatsoever are popping into my life that are helping me to achieve my goal. Look the way you pop into my life, Matthew. How? How can you explain that? I was just browsing through the Facebook, and then I saw this interview with you with Dean Radin. It wasn't programmed. I saw it. But we all attracted ourselves to each other. Those our thoughts. As I said, our thoughts are cosmic waves, telepathy. So it's just this faith. And that is what I can just recommend to each and everybody. If you don't try, if you don't do it, you will never know that it works. So do it, and it shall not fail you. That is the good thing behind it.
I love that. I 100% agree. I think that the leap of faith is mandatory, because if you want to experience spirit or universe or cosmos or God or whatever you think, it requires your action first, and then the spirit and then this universal source will kick in. And another way that I like to share it is that nature is cooperative. All of the rainforest, everything's cooperative. Humans seem to be the only thing on the planet that acts in an uncooperative way. So when you're moving from that impulse, that your inspiration is in spirit, when you're moving from that impulse of what you are as this such powerful multidimensional being connected to everything, exactly. The source energy is gonna move with you towards what you want to do. So I'm curious, from your research in quantum physics, biology, physics, God can be a scary word for some people because of just old things and stuff like that. Whether you want to say God, spirit, cosmos, in your research, is there any compelling evidence towards like this source? Like, when you take an action and you have that direct experience, but is there anything in quantum physics, in biology, that's really showing you that you are the creator, and that there is this force that is on your side? Because you also mentioned that, which I think is very important, is that when you take that leap of faith, whatever that force is, whatever you want to call it, it is on your side. And you can live life that way, or you could live it equally in the way that I'm not good enough, I'm not a creator, life is out to get me. And they're both equally real depending on the perspective that you're coming from.
So my question is, I should say something about this creative force we call God or universe? Is that what you
Yeah, what is, in your research, what's your understanding of the connection with God, source, the universe, if it's real, and if there's any compelling scientific evidence that would move weight to this intelligent infinity, this force that we're talking about?
I can I can refer you to the work of Dr. Goswami, Amit Goswami, his books. He really, I think, if I look at my table, my library, Self-Aware Universe from Goswami, the Quantum Doctor. Let me just say, I will refer our readers to the research of Dr. Goswami, which answers this question. He calls God quantum consciousness. Quantum consciousness is this spirit that is there, that is within us. In my own experience, I haven't done any scientific lab-based work, but I think Dean Radin, in his work at the Hypnotic Institute, they have been doing work on consciousness. That is what they do. So readers can refer to Institute of Hypnotic Sciences. They will have the relevant literature there, which says what God is all about and this stuff. So to me, as I will call myself a spiritual scientist, because the hardcore scientists who only go by facts and results, because what is science? I learned that science, there are three things which apply. Is it provable? Is it provable? Is it measurable? And is it documentable? That is science, right? If you can prove something, if you can measure it, and if you can document it, then you are doing science. But with this stuff that we're talking nowadays, some of these things, we can't really prove them, right? They are subjective. Only you feels it, and you know it is true. You can prove it to someone, and that doesn't make it not to be real. But what others are doing, like Dean Radin and George Smith and others, they are trying to explain, because science is just the language of spirituality, right? They are trying to look at spirituality from this scientific point, from this scientific concept, that how can you prove something, how can you measure it, and how can you document it? But at the end of the day, science can only prove and measure something in the physical world, right? But when we're talking of spirituality, of God, it's something that you don't see, you can't touch. So how can you prove and measure it? Because what Dean Radin is doing, they are using instruments and whatsoever. So now, so they are coming back in a physical context to explain something invisible, which is also a milestone. I don't say no, but what my message is that my subjective experience about the existence of God, only me, I have felt it. You yourself, you felt it. You know it's true. And any other person on this planet has had this kind of experience in his or her life at one point in time. I am very sure of that. So go by your feelings. And to your question again, you see, I'm giving you a very broad answer. I can't really give you a direct answer to what you asked me, you know? So I'm just talking and then something will come out of it. My experience about the existence of God, or this quantum consciousness, infinite intelligence, universal mind or so. To know that there is this intelligence which is impersonal. It exists in all of us. That intelligence which makes your heart to beat, it's the same intelligence which makes my heart to beat. That makes my hair to grow. It's the same intelligence. If let's say you cut your hand and you are bleeding, it gets healed on its own. It's the same intelligence which also heals my hand, isn't it? It's impersonal. It doesn't do it only for Matthew Belair or for Akuma Saningong. It does it for every person. So that is how we can just look at nature, how nature functions, that there is something which is there. And also in my own experience, that we are creators. We are creators or co-creators in ourselves. The Bible says you are made in his image. That means we are also God. For some fanatics, from some Christian fanatics, they'll say that is devil talk. It's not devil talk. You are God. What is God? God is a creator. And you are also a creator. You can do and undo. Because what is creation, Matthew? Creation is nothing. Creation happens on two levels. First, on the mental, on the psychic level, and on the physical level. I say, if you can see something in your mind's eye, you can hold it in your hand, isn't it? And that's creation. That's the one side of saying that we are creators, we are God, or God is in us, we are in spirit. And if you are really living your passion and to unfold your potential, this word, the word inspirare, the word inspiration comes from Latin, which means inspirare, which means you are in spirit. A spirit is in you. This quantum consciousness is in you. Like it's in the same way with enthusiasmus. When you say enthusiasmus, it comes from ent means in, theos from Greek, which means God. It means you are possessed by a God. And you are really in line with source energy to do and undo. And then to say something last on this aspect, what you question me on, it's about self-healing. To know, that we can heal ourselves with the power of our minds. I have healed myself many times in which I've got appointments, keynotes, and I was feeling sick. And I knew I can't cancel the appointment because it was very important. I can't turn down this the person invited me. If I'm having a kind of headache or so, I'll just say, I'll talk to myself. I'll say, hey, leave me alone. I am healthy. I am strong and healthy, and I am doing the keynote. Just by giving that, taking to me with this self-affirmation, I ignite these self-healing properties in me and I'm well. This is no hocus pocus. I have done that with me. And it is subjective. You get the point? Because we all got all what we can heal ourselves. When we talk of self-healing, we talk of what Bruce Lipton, I can refer viewers to read the book of Bruce Lipton, The Biology of Belief. He really explains these concepts, where we all have all what we need to heal ourselves. When you take a drug, when you are sick, from the pharmacy or whatsoever, most of these drugs, they are just ligands. They are just ligands that they bind to a receptor, right? To trigger a cascade of biochemical reaction to get you well. So the point is, these receptors, they are endogenous, means they have always been there. So it means that if they are there, there should also be endogenous ligands within you that bind to them to trigger this cascade of biochemical pathway. So we must not always rely for an external ligand being a form of chemical. You get the point? So we are a pharmacy on two legs. We've got everything in us. And only your belief. In the Bible it says, your belief shall set you free. Belief can bring mountain down. This belief means that the God which is in you, you can heal yourself. Did I help you? Did I come in line in answering your question, my friend?
Yeah, man, that was amazing. I love that. Well, it's interesting because for Instagram, I'll try to find like inspiring quotes and share those and just kind of rant about it. And the one that I chose yesterday was, it's an Egyptian proverb that says, you are God in a physical body. You are spirit in flesh. You are eternal life expressing itself as you. You are a cosmic being. You are all power. You are all wisdom. You are all intelligence. You are perfection. You are magnificence. You are the creator. And you are creating the creation of you on this planet.
Oh my God, that's so sweet, brother. That's so sweet. And just to compliment what you said, which is very empowering, is that we are spiritual beings having a temporal human experience. That's a quote I got from Dr.w. You know him? He's no longer with us in this dimension, but he's still with us. If we are spiritual beings on a temporal human experience, it means his human experience in this time frame has ended, but he's still there. So knowing that you are a spiritual being, you are infinite. You have been there, you are here, and you'll always be here is so empowering. What can be taken away from spirit that can be gotten back? Tell me.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that when you realize that you're eternal, and change your position from what you can do, like out of fear-based consciousness, right? Because fear-based consciousness requires a steady job and all these different things, which we do need. It's not to say that you don't need to get that job, but the other side of the point is you have a whole life to create whatever you can imagine. You know, if you get a kid that goes through university and he's like, oh, I want to do this job. He's like, okay, well, try that job. And he tries it for 3 years. And he's like, I don't really like it. Like, okay, you can try that, but you try something else then. But we get into this like, oh, we got a 401k or we got this security. So then we start to compromise all this other stuff, forgetting how powerful we are and how we can create a reality. And if we begin to just let go of all that stuff and then really rethink, okay, what if I could create my reality exactly as I wanted? What would that look like? And again, if you take money out of the equation, having enough money to support yourself, to have food, water, shelter, yes, but what are you doing every single day? What activities you want to do? Who do you want to be around? What are your most important values? What makes you excited? How do you want to take care of your body? How do you want to experience the human existence? Because it's a fascinating, really crazy roller coaster ride here. And so, you know, you get to decide what that is. And with the empowering perspective, you can then begin to continuously shape and decide the experience you want through your own conscious creation. So what I kind of wanted to ask you was, you know, when you're talking to people about achieving their highest potential, connecting to this force and things like that, do you have some favorite principles or practices that you recommend, or, you know, for somebody to achieve this? And then also you talk about happiness as well. So principles or practices for achieving their highest potential in this life, but also from a state of happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah, you're asking me, let's say, to say my routines, what I do, for example.
Yeah, it could be principles, as in like non-attachment, gratitude, things like that, and then actual practices. Let's say meditation, journaling, or whatever the case might be.
The first principle is what I've learned very bitterly, and I think it's an experience that we have all got, that we all have as humans, is learning to let go. Learning to let go is so fundamental. I'm still working on that. I think like any of us, learning to let go, because when you let go, you really release yourself of bad energy, you know? You release yourself, you make available of good energy to come into you, and all what has been bothering you really falls apart, and you see that you are in line with your source energy. You are in line with who you are. So letting go also means forgiveness. Forgiveness is a very, very strong word. I can't overemphasize it. Forgiveness is something that we all carry along with us, and I forgive myself. I must confess before the whole public now. I forgive myself, and I forgive all those who ever hurt me. And when I did that, I really felt relieved, my friend. It was as if a big load fell on my shoulders. So what I can recommend to everybody is we should learn to forgive. We should learn to forgive all those petty things that our parents did, your friends did, your teachers did. Whosoever have hurt you, know that forgiving, you are not doing primarily good to that person. You are first doing good to yourself. You are releasing yourself from that pain. It's very important. And when you release yourself from that pain, you put yourself in a positive vibration. Because when you are unforgiving, you are thinking evil about that so-called person. And what are you thinking? We have just learned that our thoughts are cosmic waves. So like thoughts attract like thoughts. So forgiving is a very egoistic practice for your own good. So when you're forgiving, yes, as a byproduct, the person also becomes forgiven, but it is first for you. That is the message. When you forgive, you are forgiving yourself, and you are putting yourself in a good vibration to be in alignment with your higher self. That is the message. So forgiveness, I can recommend that. And at times we always think of forgiveness as something like, it is something that has to be done later on. I have corrected that. That is, if something bothers me with somebody because it's part of the human experience, it doesn't mean that if somebody does something wrong to you in your interpretation, because it's all about subjective experiences. Maybe for that person it was okay, but for you it's not okay. If somebody does something that I think in my subjective experience it's not okay, I seek dialogue with that person to tell him or her that, hey, young man, young lady, what transpired, I accept that I am also responsible because there are always two people involved. That's it. There are always people involved. I first acknowledge my own self that what transpired in some way, I was either conscious or unconsciously involved in it. That's it. And then I still air my view, why I'm not amused about it. So in a very polite and nice way, you must not do it angrily or with abuse. In a very nice and matured way, you can still tell somebody your position. And when I've done that, I feel relieved and it's gone. Because when you don't do it, when you keep on swallowing it and having a grudge, it doesn't do you good. So what I've learned for me is to see to it that you get the matter sorted out. That has been very empowering for me. And then what I can encourage people to do is my morning routines is when I get up, I meditate. You mentioned that. I do 10 minutes of meditation. There are many kinds of meditations. I won't recommend any method because Eckhart Tolle, a teacher, you know him, Eckhart Tolle. I went to one of his lectures. He said something very profound. He said, all these meditation techniques, they are good and fine. But when you keep on focusing on the technique, it is a distraction. And you are not meditating. Because you are focusing all your attention, am I doing it rightly? Am I sitting up? Am I sitting rightly? Am I paying attention to that? And then you are spending all your time on the technique. And that's not meditation. So what he said is, meditation just means just being there. Just be quiet. Paying attention to your attention. That is mindfulness. And that's meditation. That is paying attention to what you are thinking. And if you are paying attention to what you are thinking, you can only be in the moment. Because if you are not paying attention to what you are thinking, you are either in the past, thinking of something that has happened that bothered you, or you are in the future, because Eckhart Tolle says, all sources of unhappiness are based on two things. Either we are in the past, and the past is a former now, or you are in the future, and the future is an imagined now. So everything happens in the now. And if you are paying attention to your attention, you can only be in the now. Like now, I am with you now, I'm talking with you. So I can only be in the now, in the here and now. I can't be thinking about my bills. I can't be thinking about who had me the other day. If I'm really with you now, you get the point. And if you are in the now, in meditation, that is where you have inner bliss. Because you are in the now, and we can live our life from the now. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't have goals and plans. No, you can have goals and plans, and you do them in the now. All your vision and your goals, what little steps can you take now in the achievement of your goals? And bit by bit, living in the now, you see that you've attained your goals. So those are some concepts that I can share with our fellow viewers. So I do my meditation, I do my visualization, I visualize what Joe says, you should be focused and see yourself achieving what you are to achieve with intention and emotions. I visualize, let's say if I have a keynote, like today I visualize that being with you on this podcast, I could see you sitting there asking me questions, see myself answering them, and it happens. Now what you see in your mind's eye, you can hold in your hand. So I visualize for 10 minutes, my plans. Thereafter, I read one book a week. So I have my books that I have. I can also encourage everybody to engage in the practice of reading. Because when you read, many people have written down their biographies, their experiences in book. You must not reinvent the wheel. Read, and get that knowledge and unfold your potential. And start from where they ended. So I read one book a week. It's very easy to read one book. I just, when I see a book, I look at the number of pages. How many pages are in there? Most books have got 200 to 300 pages. So I would divide the number of pages by 7. Let's say if you are 200, you are on about 28 pages a day. And if you are 300, you are about 42 pages. So I know I have 28 pages a day to read. So I make my commitment my commitment. There is always a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. So when I get up, I have my power of hour, 20 minutes meditation and visualization, 20 minutes of reading, and then I do some exercises. For 20 minutes where I'm now in spirit. That is, I do some manifestation exercises. I call them it's a kind of biohack, mitochondria. These are little how could I call them, bodies in our cells that give us energy. I activate my mitochondria to be in the flow. Let me put it that way. And then I say some things to the universe. I say my goals. I am happy and grateful now that I am doing this and that. Always in the present tense. I do that. I'm fully pumped up. I go take a shower and then I can start the day. So summary: meditation and visualization, reading, and exercise. I think when you do that, you are doing so much good for your body, mind, body, and spirit. And it really, you begin to see the results and you can only keep on doing them.
Amazing. Although that was fantastic, man. I appreciate you sharing all that. Yeah, all of those were fantastic techniques. And the first thing that you covered was the forgiveness. And I think that's so important. Kindness, compassion, and happiness for yourself first.
First.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, first, because when Dyer said, I think when Dyer said this, or Les Brown, you know Les Brown?
Yeah.
Les Brown is also a great guy. He's my mentor. Les Brown made a sentence in one of his speeches. He says, what you just said, kindness, compassion, love, and light, they are like perfumes. When you spray them, you can't help that some also get back to you. So if you live in that state of flow, you are doing so much good to yourself. So give a lot of kindness, forgiveness, compassion. You are doing so much good to your own self. And the person on the other end is a receiver, which is also good. So at the end of the day, it's a win-win, isn't it? It's a win-win situation. So, and if we can live from that state of consciousness, this world is a wonderful place. You really enjoy the human experience.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I had a discussion with a friend a few days ago, and she made the beautiful reminder that you can only give from an overflowing cup. And, that's kindness, compassion, happiness, and joy from yourself, because you don't have anything to give away. And sometimes it can be the hardest thing. And forgiveness is a really good part of that too, So all of that was super practical. And it reminded me of the Ho'oponopono Ono, where it's, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. And
Exactly.
just learning to drop off that luggage, that luggage of pain or whatever the problem is in the mind, but you connect to presence and gratitude. And then all of a sudden those problems they don't have that same weight to them. I know you got to get going. Unfortunately, you can feel free to stay as long as you want. Wait, I'm not sure.
How long have we been talking so far? It's so wonderful and amazing talking with you, Matthew. You are a great guy. How long have we been talking so far? Can you help
an hour? Yeah,
let's do it a bit. Let's go. We can do an extra mile.
Oh, good. Yeah. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I know. When we started at the beginning, I was like, "What is your time?" I'm going to sit here and listen as long as you want. So yeah, always. We could definitely keep going, man. It's a privilege to talk to you, and I'm glad you're enjoying it. So I guess I would ask, like, with all of those things that you just shared, Is there any question that you wish that I asked that you want to take the conversation to? What here do you want to dive deeper into, if anything, that's come up?
A question that, okay. You are very good at impromptu. You could have told me that in the beginning to think about it. I need to think at the top of my head. Good question. Let's say about you with this trained athlete. I went to your website. It's very interesting being a trained athlete. Can you say that in a few words? What you really mean with that?
Yeah, sure. Well, for me, it's the intention behind it. So I grew up a martial artist, and in martial arts, the reason why you do it is to learn how to master your mind, body, and spirit. And so that's how I viewed sports my whole life, was an opportunity to better myself. And I think that culturally on the planet right now, we've got, athletes, celebrities, and musicians are the most powerful influencers on the planet. And in football, hockey, soccer, it doesn't matter what it is, the principles of martial arts self-mastery are right there. They can be added to any sport. We can teach our youth about how to clear their mind, how to visualize and create the reality, also understand their internal dialogue. What are you saying to yourself? Are you saying that you can make the shot? Are you saying that you're good enough? Are you saying that you're worthy? And then also teach them to do it from a perspective of fulfillment where they are now. One of my clients, Marianne, she's an amazing big hockey fan, and Ovechkin just won the Stanley Cup, and that's his pinnacle moment of an athlete, right? We all have this pinnacle moment of like, oh, when I get to this thing, then life is all great and good, right? The Stanley Cup moment, the business or whatever. But we need to operate from that Stanley Cup pinnacle moment as we go through the process, being full and harmonious where we are. And so I see sport as a beautiful catalyst to empower kids with all of these principles of self-mastery without them even knowing it. They won't know. They'll just want to be better athletes. But meanwhile, they can take that principle for wherever they want to go. So I always say it's like Zen athlete, but it could be Zen music, Zen business, Zen life. It doesn't matter. It's principles of personal development and using something that you enjoy, creating a business, getting good at physics, getting good at math, and using that as a catalyst, as a reason to master yourself.
Very great. So with the Zen athlete stuff and Zen life and the other things you mentioned, for me, the quintessence is mastering your mind, mastering the power of your mind and knowing how powerful your mind is. Because Bob Proctor, all these names, these are people that have looked at their work. Bob Proctor says the mind is the most sophisticated machine you've got on the planet. It will make the best computer look like a toy. And that's so true. He said, if you know the power of your mind, you're a magnificent machine. And when you don't use it, and he said, it is a shame. It is really embarrassing. When I heard that from him, I stood at attention, He said, when we don't use our mind, it's an embarrassment to our Creator. Because he gave us this magnificent machine. He says, imagine you've got a very beautiful car with so much horsepower, and this car is standing all day long, all week long in your garage. And if I told you use this car just once a week to go shopping 1 kilometer away, and just standing there, you've never been on the Autobahn to know the magnificence of this car. And that is our mind. It's getting rusty and rustier. And it's a shame. So when you know the power of your mind, you can do and undo. You can attract whatever you want into your existence. And he says, we always use our mind, our imagination against us. We think what we don't want, and we attract it into our existence. But you can use your mind to think what you want. So it's just about where you place your focus on. So what you're doing about saying with 10 athletes is this mental aspect, which I really find very enriching and enlightening. It's also a similar work I'm doing from a different perspective, but at the end of the day, it's all one. So I think your work, my work, with the work of all other great souls around, it's very important, it's very nice, and I think we are creating a kind of global consciousness to bring this fundamental knowledge to our fellow humans so that they should emancipate themselves from mental slavery. What Bob Marley said, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. Because we are the architects and pilots of our lives. You are in a self-imposed prison, like Rumi, the Sophist poet, who lived in Persia some many years ago. He said, one of the wonders of the world is the pitiful sight of a soul sitting in prison with the key in its hand, having the key in his hand. You get the point? You are still in prison, you've got the key in your hand, but you don't know that that's the key. That you can unlock that door at any moment. And that's the case with many of us. And I think your work, my work, and the work of many other people, I can repeat, it's really making people to be aware of their potential, making people to liberate themselves from this self-imposed imprisonment. That you have it in your hands. You can decide where you want to bring your life to, in which direction. It's very essential. And it's so fundamental. All the suffering on earth can be eradicated with this knowledge because these are basic truths. All the prophets who came before us and after us, Jesus, the Buddha, Muhammad, and also, they said all these things using different words, didn't they? And science is coming with similar words, saying the same things. Like when we talk of, in the beginning, I talk of quantum physics within a field of possibilities. It's nothing like the same thing what Jesus Christ said in Matthew 19:26. He looked at his apostles and said, with man, this is impossible, but with God, all things are possible. That is quantum physics. In my opinion, Jesus was a quantum physicist. Yeah. Even the Buddha, another aspect of the quantum physics is when you go really deep into the atom, what we say electrons and atoms, if you really go really deep, there is nothing, it's empty space. It's just energy, it's nothing. And if you look from the premise that if we have accepted that we are all made of an atom, but if I say down deep is nothing, and then you ask me, but from nothing we came from nothing. So what does that mean? From nothing we can create something, isn't it? And the Buddha said, in his own words, in his days, he also defined at the atom that in the atom, that he said the atom is indivisible. On this concept that going down very deep into the atom, there is nothing, it means how can you divide something that doesn't exist? So you see how spirituality and science are talking the same language. They are really so compatible, and it's so enriching because science is looking at the effect and spirituality is looking at the cause. And that makes them one, in my opinion, and in the opinion of many other teachers in this field.
I 100% agree. I totally resonate with all of that. You know, the mental slavery piece is so important, and that is a lot of like the intention with the book, because you know we're a bit older. I don't know if we're the same age or what, but if you look at what a kid is going through now, from 5 to 10 years old, 10 to 20, those teenage years, and what they're looking at culturally. And what's happening to their minds. You know, part of the work that I did growing up was looking at. I didn't understand how we still had war, and that's how I got into hypnosis. Oh, you can, mass hypnosis, indoctrination, all these different systems that are being used on us. And then, sometimes they're on purpose, and sometimes it's through our culture or our parents or different things. And we are a supercomputer. We're like this infinite, this body is just hyper intelligent, intelligent life through it. It's just absolutely miraculous. But what's happening with this incredible suit that we're in is we're sitting in a state of anxiety, depression, fear, because we're stuck in this fear loop. And we can't get past that fear loop to really activate our body, to activate our life experience, to see what we're capable of doing on this planet, because there's so much illusion, this Maya. And at Maya, it comes from culture, jobs, all these different things of really just forgetting you're on a floating ball shooting through outer space. Unless you're a flat earther, then you're on a disc, whoever, I don't know exactly how that works, but you get the idea. It's just like, holy shit, like this is an opportunity to have an extraordinary experience. And you have the most intelligent, miraculous thing that you're driving around, but we don't know how to use it. And what we got to learn is part of the book. I was on a podcast yesterday, my buddy Jiro from the Flow State, is like, part of what you got to do is you got to understand the coding and the beliefs you have. That's the coding in your computer. So if the coding is like, I'm not good enough, I can't do it, things are hard, blah, blah, blah. So you want to be the world's best athlete, biggest entrepreneur, whatever. What does Richard Branson believe about business? What does people who are successful and happy and fulfilled believe? And you deduce and you figure out those belief systems, you write them all down, and then you can encode them through affirmation, self-hypnosis, and different things into your own mind. And now you're changing the coding of your supercomputer. And that's what it teaches you. So that's what I mean. It's like you teach it to kids. Once they know that they, through their own consciousness, can direct and affect their coding, it changes their experience in this reality, because inner and outer. And that's really the thing, is we got to understand and take responsibility for our coding, what we're getting in our reality, and then realize that we actually have the tools and skills and knowledge to change our own coding to what it is that we want to experience here.
Exactly. I can only agree with you. We are on the same frequency, bro. What you're saying with coding and the like is in the same line with the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, right? That is, we have to be conscious, which makes us 5% of our consciousness, and the subconscious mind, 95%, according to Bruce Lipton and Joe Dispenza with other colleagues, they have done that, that control our life. But that 95% has to be programmed through consciousness. You get the point? So, and this 95%, which is running our lives, it's so important, because that is where the work has to be done. You have to have that harmony, that agreement between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. If you say, I want to be rich, but deep down in you, you know you can never be rich, you will remain damn poor. Because there's a conflict. So you have to open your mind, open yourself up in knowing that you are a wonderful being. You are made of abundance. You are better than abundance. You have to believe that in your heart of hearts, and that's how it can flow through. I just give an example, like, and that can only come through practice, and repetition. Repetition is also learning, because in the Bible it says, hearing. Belief comes through hearing and hearing. That also means, in other words, you have to keep on doing something over and over, and it gets embedded into your subconscious mind. Let's say with the subconscious mind, which we as children, we heard many things from our parents and from school and friends that we couldn't do something, we could do something, and we heard that so often, and we believe that, and it has either become an asset or a liability to us. So this question of repetition is so important. Repeat those things that are of help to you, that bring you ahead, and those things that are not of help to you, you see how you can eradicate them from your system. Let's say with this question of conscious and subconscious mind, to make it clear to our viewers, let's say people who, let's say with driving. How do you explain that somebody who is dead drunk can still drive his or her car back home? It is not the conscious mind, because he or she has mastered driving very well. He or she knows the road to his or her home. So it is just the subconscious mind driving the car. And most of the time, there is no accident. And this person can be driving this car in an argument with the person on the other seat, but nothing happens. So who is driving the car at this time? The subconscious mind. And that's how the subconscious mind runs our life, either consciously or unconsciously. So it's very important. It's the same case like you can't tune into, let's say, ABC TV station and you want to get CNN. But if you've tuned into ABC and you want to get CNN, if you don't do that conscious step to tune to CNN, you will never get ABC, you will never get CNN. So consciousness is very important. What Amit Goswami in his books, I've mentioned it many times, he said consciousness is the ground state of our being. This word consciousness is so important. Being conscious of your consciousness, paying attention to your attention. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And and this isn't common knowledge, and it's so powerful, and it does take a little bit of repetition and programming, but we're not taught to go look in and take our mental inventory of what we believe, and eliciting those limiting beliefs in any area, relationships, career, money, abilities, right? And so in sport, it's very clear. And in business, it's the exact same. It doesn't matter what it is. You just do the inventory of limiting beliefs and then figure out what are the most empowering beliefs that you could program instead. And that programming comes through your consciousness, and that's basically the free will. That's our free will creatorship to focus our attention on what we wish. Nobody tells us what to focus our attention on. We can become aware of our awareness, and then we get to start to steer the ship, and we're observing, but we're also creating as we observe. And then it kind of goes into other mastery of surrendering to what's happening, and then how we respond to the environment when things are coming in, because it could be like, oh, here's a roadblock. Oh my God, I'm not good enough, and I'm going to fall over at this first tiny little hurdle, and whatever. And then you have the other consciousness that's just like, okay, great. I have an opportunity to learn and grow and figure out what this is all about, and do it in a space of love and joy and fun and whatever else you want. And then you just keep going, boom, 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 until you get to that goal and that vision of that what you want, but really paying attention to what is in now and enjoying what is now, because that's just a later thing. You're just moving in that direction because that's the direction you want to go. You get to choose it.
Exactly. I've just learned something from you. Thank you. That's why I say I learn from everybody. You've made a sentence or a word or a sentence or a phrase. You say I wrote it down. Making an inventory of your limiting beliefs. It's very sweet. It's cool. Thank you, man.
Oh, you're welcome, man. It's a privilege to teach you something. Heck yes. Whoop.
That's a good phrase. To make an inventory of your limiting beliefs is so fundamental and profound. This phrase. I'm going to use it in my talks. Thank you.
All right, cool. Give me a shout out, and I'll tweet you. It'll be awesome. I would love to see one of your talks live on your website. It looks like you're just rocking stages all over the world. So I hope that one day that I'm front row cheering you on and enjoying, because you have such
You can also think of something. Maybe we can cook something up. I'm international. I can come to the States or Toronto or to Canada.
We will definitely stay connected. We'll cook something up. Sounds good to me. That's one of that's the privileges of having the podcast. I have wonderful beings like you, come out, and then now they're on my radar. And it's a product of me following my own inspiration and moving forward. And it hasn't been easy. It's been fun. It's been challenging. It's been all that, but it's meaningful to me. Do you know what I mean?
That's it, because you see the purpose of your life, isn't it? You see that you are doing something meaningful. You are impacting so many lives. And in that sense, you are also, I can talk from my own perspective. You feel satisfied. I feel very fulfilled. And one thing I want to share with the viewers before we wrap up is the question of fulfillment and why are you here? One of my teachers said, many people ask the question, what is the meaning of life? He said, don't ask the question, what's the meaning of life? He said, ask, what is the meaning of your life? Because when you know the meaning of your life, you know what's the meaning of life. Very profound. And he said, to know the meaning of your life is are you living your passion? Are you living in your sweet spot? Are you doing those things that make you amazed? That you feel bliss, that thing that when you think you smile. Those things are they can be various kinds of I don't know how to put them. Those creative aspects of you. Maybe you want to be a painter, you want to be a sculptor, you want to be a writer or whatsoever. But what the society has made us to know, or your parents or school condition you to know that no, that is bullshit. You can never get rich out of it. You can never make money out of it. that's not a good programming. So we should begin to listen to that inner voice in us. That voice that has got no words, but you know they are there. It's very silent. So what I say to people is, listen to your heart. Take the decisions with your heart and use your mind to find a way to achieve, take the decision with your heart and use your mind to find a way how to go about it. Because the heart is the bigger brain of the body. Science today is telling us that in the field of neurocardiology, neuro from neurons, cardiology from the heart, that more than 60% of the heart cells are neurons. So we think with our heart. So think with your heart and make the decisions. It's kind of an oxymoron, a paradox, to think with your heart, right? but that's how we function. So listen to your heart. Don't allow fear to overcome you. Fear is just a trick of the brain. It's a trick of the devil, let me put it that way. Listen to your heart and believe in the unknown. Have courage to go into the unknown. And that is where you meet this field of infinite possibilities. That all things are open there for you. I have done it. I'm still doing it. And I know if it could work for me as a science mind, I was trained very conventionally to go by proof. I told you. But just to have faith, it works like magic. You have to do it. Only in doing that you can see that it works. And then one last thing, it's so sweet talking this stuff, Matthew. We can say this in the next 3 hours, but we're soon going to stop.
Go as long as you wish. I love it.
One thing, again, that I say in living your passion, like what I'm doing, what you are doing, is find what makes you happy, your passion, and then success is being defined as, in my terms, that is to live your passion and find people to pay you for it. Then that is real success because you are in your flow, in a flow state. If you get money for it, it's good. If you don't get money for it, it's also good because you are doing what you like. And the universe will repay you tenfold that you get money for it, because with more money, you can do more. With more money, you are helping the evolution of the universe. The universe wants to grow and evolve through you. To me, money has got a very positive energy. It depends on where we grew up in the world that for some people, money has got a negative energy tag on it. They say money is sort of all evil, rich people are bad people, and all sorts of evil things to talk about money. And if you talk about evil to money, how do you imagine to get money? Because if you love somebody, right, and you keep on abusing this person every day, be it your wife or your husband or whosoever, if you keep on abusing this person every day, that love can't work, that marriage can't stick. And the same thing people are doing unconsciously. They hate money, they're talking ill about money, they abuse rich people, and that's why they remain poor, they remain broke. So if you see a rich man or whatever, be happy for him. Put yourself in a state of good vibration, say, oh, that guy has made it. Be happy for him. And only when you are happy for other people will be happy for you, and that's how you attract wealth and abundance in your life. So in a nutshell, live your passion. Like me, I'm a keynote speaker, I'm all over the place, and I get paid for it. It's cool. And I also, at times, when I started this job, I also had to talk without pay. And I did it very well because it was my passion. I did it. When they said, come and talk, I said, are you paying me? They said, no. I said, oh, come and talk because I like doing it. But now I get paid for it. Get the point? So that is a very fundamental knowledge I got to know about this stuff that, I think one Chinese philosopher said, if you are living your passion, you will never work any day in your life. So that is something that is very profound that we should understand that. And the universe is always on your side. Quantum consciousness is also in the book of Goswami that he also did some studies on that you are assisting the evolution of the universe, because you came here with an agenda, with a goal to fulfill, because the universe wants to grow through you to a different state of evolution. And if you're not doing that, It's a pity. And the universe is very angry. I wouldn't say angry, but the universe is a bit not amused. Yeah.
Man, that's beautiful. I really, really love that you are assisting the evolution of the universe through living your passion. It's so true, and I like the wealth thing to understand. Money. One of my friends is really wealthy, and he says, money is just a scoreboard for the value that I give. I'm not pursuing money. I was like, frick yeah.
That's so cool, bro. Money is just a scoreboard. I write it down. Money is just a scoreboard for the value that I give. Oh, cool.
Joshua Smith from GSD Mode. Get shit done. This guy is amazing. He's got a wonderful podcast and a really spectacular human being as well. So shout out to him and tons of love. But that was one of the things.
Joshua Smith, how is his podcast called?
GSD. Get shit done. Yeah, and this guy gets shit done, man. He gets shit. The guy's a beast. It's amazing, and has a family, wonderful family. They're incredible. Cool. But also about like when you see, that's like a law of attraction tip, right? You see somebody with wealth or what you want, celebrate that success, and that's mirror neurons. If you push it down, you're resisting it. When you celebrate it, you're getting in the energy, and you need to match that energy. You need to match that frequency, not put it down, because then you're going to be resisting it.
Exactly. You said it all. You said it all. Even Einstein, one of the greatest theoretical physicists in the last century, he was also a fan of law of attraction. He said he used law of attraction in a different, he said it in different terms, but what he was just saying was law of attraction hope 10 times 10. Let me read what he said, right, to our viewers, so that those people who want to be very analytical, they will hear what Einstein said with regards to law of attraction. Frequency, attract. Let me just put that in Google and see. Okay, this is what Einstein said, which is in conjunction with the law of attraction. He said, everything is energy, and that is all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy. This is physics. Albert Einstein.
I love that quote.
That is law of attraction pure. It's physics. It's science.
I love it, man. This has been such a pleasure. You really shared so much, practical, important knowledge, wisdom. You have such a wonderful spirit about you. Thank you for all the work that you're doing, probably kicking butt stages and the research and just going out there, spreading the love, taking the leap of faith to bring this knowledge out to people, right? Well, a lot of us are facing that thing, and it's scary. I don't care where you are. You could have $1 million and it's still terrifying. You could have nothing and it's still terrifying. It's wherever you are, it's going to be terrifying. But if that inner voice is telling you that's spirit, that's you, and that's your creation on the planet, have that courage. So I commend you for doing that, and to be able to be on the other side and receive your joy and your gift and your passion. I can feel it, and it's wonderful. Before we close up, is there anything that you want to dive deeper into, you wish that I had asked, or anything that you want to touch on? You can feel free to go as long as you wish.
Oh my God, you are a good interviewer. No, I think we've touched so many aspects, and it's fine now. And then just one last thing about this fear stuff, which prevents people to lift their goals, is I would say, feel the fear and do it anyway. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Fear can be a warning signal, but it shouldn't be a stop signal. Those are quotes from Jack Canfield and the book of Susan Jeffers, Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. Those are books that our viewers can buy and read.
Incredible. Yep, I agree, and I love that, and I love that quote. Where can people find more about you? Do you have speaking dates, and where can people get a hold of you if they want to reach out? Very
cool. They can get hold of me on my website. I think we'll put on the show notes, www.drsaningong.com. What I encourage them to do is they should subscribe to my newsletter. Every Monday morning, I write a very short essay or so, very short and pregnant, full of positive energy and good vibes, so that they can start their week on a good footing. It's for free. And in this newsletter, I always make mention of the appointments I've got around the world. So that is what I offer. I do most of my work in Germany. It's in German. I have a book in German, but the book is being translated into English. When that will be done, those in my English newsletter are also going to be informed. So the message is to get in touch, get on my website, drsaningong.com, get inscribed on my newsletter. I'm also on Facebook. You put the name Akuma Saningong, you'll find my page and me and Instagram. I'm all over the place. But the website is a good place to start with.
Awesome. Well, so nice to meet you. Thank you so much for an amazing podcast and all your work. And I look forward to being front row. I know what's going to happen. It's going to be exciting, but thank you for everything.
For nothing. The universe is going, the universe is working at high speed to make that come true. We have sent a wish to the universe and it's working for our higher good.
Sounds good, man. Well, have an amazing day and we'll stay in touch.
Thank you. Namaste.
See you guys.